Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to an action-packed, explosive episode of Action Movie Anatomy here, talking about one of the films that we have been anticipating all year. It is The Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. So much baby butter. We'll see you guys in just a second.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Action Movie Anatomy.
Boom! Baby butter.
What is baby butter?
I don't know.
I want to know.
It's butter made from babies. I meant to say body butter. I winged it. I wung it.
We wunged it, and
I said baby butter.
you said baby butter on air. You are now not allowed around playgrounds.
At least I didn't say baby batter. That would have been worse.
Well, you did now. Now you said all three.
Yeah, and I prefaced it by... Anyway.
At least I didn't say this. Not to be an asshole, but I'm tweeting right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
You gonna go share the link?
I am.
Look at you.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that for us.
Nice.
For us and our family.
I'll wait. I'll wait for you to have tweeted so then I can
You
go
can just
and...
paste it, copy it, retweet.
Yeah, retweet. At
retweet.
the crime scene.
At the...
LOL. Good tweet.
Oh.
How you guys doing? How's everybody doing here? We're back in studio, hanging out. This is 2 weeks in a row. Drew and I have been in the same city at the same time. Big
Shocking.
stuff, big exciting stuff. We watched Hobbs and Shaw last night. We would have seen the press screening, but unfortunately it happened in a week that I was out of town. So we didn't get to do that. But we got to go see the film together, which actually doesn't happen as often as you'd think.
No, it really doesn't. I really enjoy when we do get to do that. Are you seeing The Kitchen tonight?
No, I'm not. There's another movie that has a screening tonight that I'm not able to go to because I have an MRI.
Oh.
Yeah, I just said it on air.
Are you fine?
Yeah, it's just my back shit. It's that same
He's
shit.
dying. He's just telling me right now on air.
Ted, I'm dying. Of this heat. Remember something about Mary?
Yeah.
Woogie.
Dom Woganowski. Yeah, so guys, we're here to talk Hobbs and Shaw. We did get to see it last night. We went and had a couple drinks at the theater. The young man who was the bartender the first time around gave us the smallest double I've seen in my entire life, and then defended it for a long time.
I said, is that a double? He said, yep. And I said, how many ounces is a double? And he said, it's 2 ounces because a regular's, and you were like, oh, so a regular's 1.5. And he was this kid that worked in a movie theater.
Yeah, no, it was not his fault.
He's pouring
It
out
was
of
his fault, but a jigger.
Yeah, so Andrew took him out back.
I did.
No.
And I screamed at him.
So then during the film, like real degenerates, I went back out to the lobby to get us another round, and this time it was a different bartender.
Yep.
And she poured a significant... Did you spill your drink?
No, I wouldn't have done that. I would never have done that.
A significantly larger pour, and I said... Is that a double? And she said, yeah. And I said, how many ounces? And she said, 3. And I said, well, I hate to break it to you, but the guy before you only poured us 2.
So you need to take one of those ounces out.
I said, can you top us off? And she said, I can't do that. I was like, well, what do you propose I do? And she said, okay, I'll take care of it. And
She was going to say no originally.
she tried to say no.
Unbelievable.
I could have been a jerk. I could have just
you could have.
Well, I also thought the situation could have gone the other way, where she was actually pouring us more than she should have.
Oh, and then she was like, I just made him. Yeah,
I was worried. But she seemed like she
took her job seriously.
She was mopping the lobby prior to pouring our drinks. So I thought maybe she's not the bartender. Maybe she's wrong. I don't know.
That was honestly the most exciting moment of Hobbs and Shaw for us, was when you came back in with those gigantic pours of Jameson.
Yeah, look on your face. You were
I was
excited.
surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, so full disclosure, again, I think you guys can probably tell that we've been doing the show now for like 3-4 minutes, and we haven't even discussed the film at hand.
I'm tweeting. Sorry.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we watched Hobbs and Shaw. We're covering that on the show today, and we might as well just get into it. This is Action Movie Anatomy. We've got 4 rules, and almost all the films that we cover follow those 4 rules. Rule number 1, the hero always plays by their own rules. Yeah, I mean, I think that Hobbs and Shaw are kind of the definition of it. They're definitely the heroes of it. Rule number 2, the hero and the villain are always the smartest people, beings, creatures, dinosaurs in the room. I'd say yes again, but Idris actually isn't the true villain then. He's just a pawn.
The villain is some machine that talks like this.
Which I never even looked up who the voice of it was. Oh, there's a post-credit scene we didn't watch. What if they show it there?
2, I think.
I bet we could have watched him online by now if we cared enough.
You know, one of the things that people don't talk about anywhere near enough now is blockbuster films have to credit the fact that Iron Man 1 and the MCU created the post-credit scene.
Did they?
Well, think about it, right? What was the movie that had a post-credit scene prior to Iron Man 1?
I felt like like it had happened before, but maybe not.
Or if it didn't create it, they
wasn't like a
popularized
thing.
it, and it has become a thing in blockbuster films now.
Yeah.
Where you go to a movie and it's like there's gonna be a post-credit scene, and that's a thing we expect in movies now.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know now, especially in an MCU movie, like no one gets up when the movie's over.
No.
You and I were out the theater before the credits hit the scene.
I missed the second post-credit scene in Far From Home.
So did I.
Didn't stay long enough.
Same.
Yeah.
I saw the first one, but which I can't even remember. Oh yeah, the second one with the Skrulls or whatever, right?
Yeah, the Skrulls are the one I missed.
Yeah, that's the one I missed as well.
Yeah.
Rule number 3: the movie's driven by a police, military, political figure. Actually, yeah, that hits perfectly.
Or mercenary. Which is important in this franchise.
And rule number 4: I mean, it's a Fast and Furious movie. The movie contains a minimum of 1 explosion.
So much body butter.
So many body butters. So much baby butter. We got a couple shout outs here. We got 2 new patrons to shout out. We got Jose Montalvo.
Nice.
And Adelia Chamberlain.
Jose and Adelia, we salute you.
We salute you.
Yeah, if you guys are wondering what that is, patreon.com/Team Action is a place where you can go and support Andrew and myself. We do a lot of content on there. We just posted a review of Andrew's latest Schmodown match.
Yeah, we did our first ever live reaction
We
review.
streamed it, so now that's available to you guys as patrons. You can go check that out. We do our other show, The Action Guys. The episodes post early as full videos to our patrons. We do mini AMAs. We did a mini review of The Social Network last night, live on our stream.
Anytime we can talk about Social Network, we will.
It was a fun one.
We go out of our way, too.
Yeah, that was good. And so you can go check that out, patreon.com/Team Action. But thank you to Jose and Adelia for joining. A lot of new patrons recently. It's really exciting to see.
Yeah.
Stay tuned at the end. If you are a general in the Army, you're going to hear your name. Maybe he's a new general. You'll hear your name on air for the first time.
We got a new general. And also, very last thing for us to plug, New York City. The Action Guys are doing it live. That's what we should have called it. The Action Guys are doing it live. Good throwback to Bill O'Reilly.
Fuck it.
Do it live. Yeah, doing a live show in New York, August 29th at the East Village Comedy Club, the New York Comedy Club in the East Village at 10:15 p.m. So on this side of the country, it'll actually be at 7:15. We're trying to figure out if we can stream it.
Yeah. It's exciting, though. I think some of the things we're talking about. So we'll be doing an actual episode of Action Movie Anatomy live at the New York Comedy Club. We'll be talking about MacGruber. Secondly, we're going to be doing like kind of a mini The Action Guys with some like pretty fun impressions. Some of your guys, like an extended Cage versus Cruz, basically.
Yeah, yep.
And I think I'm going to play a live song at this show. We'll see. Drew will be doing some interpretive dance. And I just confirmed on the way here, we will have exclusive Action Live t-shirts as well as 2 different pop sockets for sale at the show.
That's news even to me. I didn't know if it had been confirmed yet. So that's awesome. I'm excited. I need a new pop socket. And what better than to have my own brand on the back of my phone?
Just the best.
Just the coolest guy around.
Yeah, almost as pleased with yourself as Hobbs and Shaw. So I think we should get into the show today.
Yeah, we should.
We're going to be talking today on the show a little bit about Jason Statham's career. Where do we go from here? It's a new segment we're debuting. Where do we go from here is what we're calling it. We're excited to talk about that. We are going to be doing a little bit of a discussion of kind of just the modern day action star and you know, does it or does it not work anymore in that old Schwarzenegger mold.
Yeah.
As well as all your favorite games, fist pump moment, favorite line, etc., etc., etc.
etc. And a big time happy anniversary shout out to Richard Eric Jarvie and Britta. 2 years today. He snuck away for an hour to watch the show. That is how dedicated he is. Although we all know that Britta would have loved to watch the show as well, Richard.
Yeah, we love Britta.
We do.
We love Richard.
We do. We love everyone in the Army. Yeah. So let's just get into it, man. I think that's the only thing we can do. I feel like we're kind of dancing around it a little bit today because it's always hard to pull a favorite line when you watch a movie in theaters, and also we didn't love this movie, so coming up with like a thesis that doesn't just rip it apart.
I liked it more than you, I think. But
I think you did too.
Yeah, but there's a lot about this movie that was awesome, and it's one of the things about this show that I think is so important that we remember to remind people of, which is that like, you know, you came out of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and you disliked that movie actively. Like, you were not a fan. But we've quoted that movie in the last week more than any other movie.
God damn, 8 whiskey sours.
God damn it, Rick. You couldn't have had 3 or 4.
I'd have 8.
So, I mean, movies grow on you. Things happen in movies that, you know, certain parts of the movies, like, really stick with you. And there was parts of this movie that were awesome. There were parts of this movie that I know you loved. So...
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. So I think we should jump straight in with Thesis Statement. And yeah, I think you have a pretty sweet one, so I'll let you go first.
What was mine?
Well, or I'll just go first.
Okay.
The best part of this movie is Cliff Curtis. because this movie is so outlandish and ridiculous.
Right.
It's such a ridiculous movie that, like, when Cliff Curtis shows up, like, let me just explain to you guys, and this is a spoiler show, so if you if you haven't seen the movie yet, like, you shouldn't watch this, but if you have seen the movie and you want to hear our thoughts, that's what we're doing. So in the trailers, and I follow The Rock on social. Kathy Kelly, veteran of the show, longtime friend of ours, she works in WWE. So anytime there's like a wrestler-driven movie, she's always on site doing stuff. And so there's a picture of her with The Rock and Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns, WrestleMania champion, was in this movie.
I haven't seen that picture.
And I assumed that I know there was a picture with her and The Rock. I thought it was all three of them together, but she knows all these guys.
Right.
And so I thought, okay, it must be that his brother that he's talking about in this movie, this guy that he hasn't seen in years, has to be Roman Reigns, right? Because who else is it going to be?
Right.
Like,
I see the pictures now.
Right? It's got to be Roman Reigns.
It just looks like his brother.
All of the promo for this movie was just Roman Reigns with The Rock, right? It was like Jason Statham and like he's the other guy.
Yeah.
So they get to Samoa. You guys have all seen the trailers, even if you haven't seen the movie. And like he knocks on the door, and you're expecting like the thing to open, and it's going to be Roman Reigns. Nope. It's just the villain from Training Day, except he has braids now. And like it's. I love Cliff Curtis.
I love Cliff Curtis.
Huge fan.
It's the captain from Sunshine.
Yeah, he's Searle. He's incredible.
It's just, why is he The Rock's brother?
The whole thing was just like, guys, is Roman Reigns this bad of an actor that you couldn't put him in this role?
He must be. He has to be.
Secondly, like, why didn't you guys hire? First of all, Cliff Curtis is not Samoan. He's Maori, right? He's from New Zealand.
Right.
If you had hired an actor that was not going to properly be the ethnicity of the role you were casting, couldn't you have hired anyone who looked like all the other Samoan guys who was all jacked? The Rock is like 6'4"
Like another,
and
or
huge.
like someone who's actually Samoan.
All the other guys are either jacked or they're like real big, kind of strong-looking dudes. But Cliff Curtis looks like an actor who's wearing like a loose shirt and has like bad braids. Every time he was on screen, it looked like a parody music video made by like Lonely Island. It was like Susan Sarandon in the Mother Lover video. I just couldn't stop laughing.
It truly did look like an SNL sketch.
Yeah.
Like that it was so ridiculous.
It was like, is that Andy Samberg with a lot of makeup on? Like,
It is.
What's going on?
He's moving like a Samoan. We got a few Thesis in the chat here. Richard Eric Jarvie, who we just shout out, says, this is the dumbest Fast and Furious movie. I don't mean that in a bad way, because I did enjoy and like the film. Right before that was Paul Denuzio's thesis, who says, Denuzio, this is the most fun Fast and Furious film. Boom, come at me. And then lastly, we got James Spence. Thesis statement, this is the perfect example of a movie star. Wait, there it goes. Perfect example of a movie star using their producer job in a positive manner. The third act in Samoa is amazing in its location and embracing local culture and history.
That's a super interesting thesis, because I would like to dissect it and break it down. Because we talked about this a little bit.
We did. We talked about it when we left.
Yeah, so your point is a really good point, which is that, like, okay, so The Rock thinks to himself, I don't ever get to see my culture reflected in major films. Ever. I don't get to see the principles, the people, the geography, the sense of family, any of it. Right? So I'm the producer and I'm the star, and I want to do this. I want to feature it. So I'm going to do it. And on the one hand, that's really important, and representation in film is incredibly important, especially to younger audiences who don't know any better. So when they see stuff like this for the first time, if you're a 10-year-old kid and you see this, now you're familiar with this in a way that you would not have otherwise been.
Right.
Which
Like,
is
how many kids now want to go to Samoa?
Exactly. And that's so cool. On the other hand, as a movie fan, you're watching and you're just like, this is absurd, and like, why are you guys fighting with spears and sticks and
against like superhuman, evolved, half robot, half human machine killers?
And also, like, this is so kitschy and like so gimmicky, it feels like. And why are we here?
And like, I get it, the cars and the trucks and the NOS and like the whole thing, the family and the chant when they come out. It is all just Samoa, which is awesome, and like something that we've learned to know a lot more as The Rock specifically has gotten more and more famous. Whether he's doing it at in Hawaii at a university, or if he's just there visiting, if he's doing promo for Moana, if he's all these things, we've started to see Samoan culture kind of being injected strictly because of The Rock, which I do believe is incredible.
Yeah.
I just think there was a way to do it to make it not feel so silly. And it did feel pretty silly to me.
It felt cartoonish.
It felt very cartoonish, as did most of the film.
Yeah.
But like in a different way.
Yeah.
It was injected.
I think that when you and I talked on John Wick 3 about how like we don't actually like action movies as much as we thought we did.
Yeah.
I actually think we are too highbrow for
think
this
we are
genre
too.
anymore. I think when we started the show, because we weren't critics at the time, we didn't have
been doing
experience.
it for 4 years, 5 years.
I think we were much more willing to go see a movie and like laugh off the stuff. But I think in the beginning we chose the genre because like I remember watching Jurassic World early on in the show and walking out of Jurassic World and being like that was a pretty bad movie. But like those big blockbusters are that's like what people go to see when they think action movie.
Yeah.
When we go think action movie, we think like Mad Max Fury Road, or we think like at the very least maybe like
Edge of Tomorrow,
Taken or something.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's it's silly. So Taken takes itself really seriously.
We got J-Lo up in the booth, the producer, engineering the show here. J-Lo, someone in the chat says that our mics are very loud. I don't know if that's just them or if it's everyone, but if that's something that we could check the levels on, that would be great. If not, then you know what, Tim, we're just going to keep screaming at you for the next 40 minutes.
Sorry.
So my thesis is that Vanessa Kirby and Idris Elba are the only reason this movie succeeds.
Succeeds, like, is good, you mean?
Is
like,
good.
Yeah. Like
because if they're not in this, you saw it time and time again, the Jason Statham, The Rock going back and forth, like being dicks to each other.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the other thing, is they're really not that likable when they're being that way with one another. Like, there's like you said, like 1 in every 3 jokes
would
hit,
land, yeah.
And they rapid fire jokes at you.
Yeah.
So even if it's just only 1 in 3, 33%, that's a lot of missed jokes. Whereas Kevin Hart, who I don't even really like that much, and Ryan Reynolds, who I love, are truly, like, you see they're oozing true comedic chops and charisma.
Yeah.
And like, it's a whole nother level. And so, obviously, they wouldn't have been enough to carry the film. But the thing is Vanessa Kirby and Idris, and even though Idris is like a cartoon caricature villain, he's awesome.
Yeah.
And they're both great actors. Like, they really are. I truly believe that Vanessa Kirby is going to be a superstar. I think there's just something about her. It's not just her look, it's just the presence she commands. And, you know, there's that scene when they're out on the mountain on Samoa having a heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
And you could sit there and analyze that scene in an acting class because The Rock is not a bad actor.
No.
He's not a good actor, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And you watch him and his pacing and his tone, and he never lives and breathes in his moments. He never, like, soaks up the scenery and chomps on those lines, man. He just, like, delivers them like this, and I'm going to get to the next line. Whereas Kirby takes all this time, and she has these subtleties in her. You even see, you know, she doesn't tear up, but you can see the glisten in her eye. Like, there's just so many moments in there where you're like, she gets it.
Yeah.
And she has to get it because she can't succeed on the same kind of plan that The Rock has had. No one can. No one gets to go from being a son of a wrestler that was like kind of good to being like the biggest superstar wrestler the world's seen and then becoming the biggest superstar entertainer the world's ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not, that doesn't happen ever. Really.
No, it's all like lined up, and he's had phases in his career, and it's gotten him there. And
whereas Vanessa has to be a good actress.
Yeah.
Because she's given these small chances, and she's stolen the movies.
Yeah.
You lean over, you're like, Idris and Vanessa are stealing this movie. And I was like, I couldn't agree more. And then even in Mission Impossible 6, she's barely in it as Job's daughter, but every scene she's in, you're just like, wow.
Yeah, she's great.
She's incredibly engaging.
She's intriguing. She does the knife work. Yeah. She's sweet. I'm a big fan of Vanessa Kirby. Yeah, that was kind of my other. I mean, my thesis was sort of jokey, but also like, at least it's like the thing I'm gonna probably like remember the most about this movie. But I definitely agreed with you that, you know, those two, when I was watching the movie, were like the most interesting parts because. Yeah, like you look at The Rock and Statham and kind of what they're doing in this movie on the whole, and some moments are really funny. Like when they put on their disguises, each of their disguises are great.
The Rock literally wears that outfit.
Yeah,
I've seen him in that tracksuit many times.
Yeah. And when he gets on, and he gets to the security, and they're like, Mike Oxmall.
Yeah, Mike Oxmall. So good.
Yeah,
Mike Oxmall.
And he's got he does a great reaction. Like The Rock's, like his facial is really good. It's really good. And then also when he gets on the airplane afterwards, it's hilarious. He has a really good moment where they have the whole thing, and he's like,
well, he acts like the savior of a country or a people, like walking onto the place, like, hi. Hey, how's it going? He's like says hi to everyone. Hi. It's so good.
Yeah. And then he sits down and he's like, what's he say? He's like, because nobody likes you. You don't have any friends.
Yeah.
Or something
and
like
then he's
that.
like, I love your babushka.
Yeah.
She's like, ooh. It's great.
Those are the moments where you're like, so I get it. The script is pretty funny, and you guys all sat around reading the script, and you found that like all these jokes were funny, right. And then in reality, these guys aren't comedians. So like, because I said this before, right? So Statham in Spy is like my favorite Statham role by far. And he's amazing in Spy. He's the funniest part of that movie, honestly. him and Roseburn. But like he's so good in Spy because he's just doing his exact same thing. The writing is just so good.
Yeah.
And the rest of the performances and the context of what he's doing becomes hilarious. But he's taking himself so seriously, which is what he always does.
Yeah.
So it's not like his comic chops are so good.
No, they just learn how to use his. I mean, it's like when Keanu popped into the Matrix.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was so good at acting awestruck. That's just kind of who Keanu Reeves is a lot of the time at that point in his life.
Whereas, like, you know, another actor who I don't think is the best actor always, but like, I think Wahlberg gets comedy. And so in the other guys, he is ultimately just playing the straight man really well.
Yes.
But he also has moments in that movie that are unbelievably funny.
Yeah, there's some really, especially like the dancing.
The dance, like he has moments in that movie that are like, okay, you see, you're like actually really funny if you do this.
If you try, if you get it. So, those are our thesis statements. That's how I feel. I think that Vanessa Kirby and Idris are the reason this movie succeeds. They're the best parts of the film, and let's get on to fist pump moment. This is a moment for us. You know, you look around, and I feel like the theater in general is having a lot of fist pump moments. We were with like a very lively audience, even though it wasn't packed. They were there to have a good time, and they definitely had a good time. But it's that moment you look around, you're kind of like, are you seeing this? This is awesome. I get to watch the rest of this movie.
You're so hyped. You like want to call somebody and be like, and guys, you know, for fist pump moments, we're going to talk about a couple here. But our subject today on the Action Guys, which is the other show we're going to go tape today over at Collider on the podcast network, is the top 10 most ridiculous moments from Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
We're going to do a full episode on it. Really just reveling in the wonderful ridiculousness of this movie because the fist bump moments are all going to be ridiculous moments.
Yeah, and mine is actually one that is pretty realistic.
Yeah.
It's when Vanessa Kirby and The Rock are fighting in the alley the first time they meet. And and she's kind of kicking his ass. Like, she really is. And that's another thing I love is they did a really great job of making her actually look physically intimidating in the way she fights, and I think that's really, really important. But I love when she's choking him out and like telling him he's going to go to sleep, and then he literally is just like, all right, I'm done with this. And he goes from like laying down to standing and holding her over his head with one arm. And I was just like, God damn, that guy's massive.
So big.
He's so gigantic. Like, you could drink boba through his bicep veins.
Oh, yeah.
You could drink gigantic boba through his bicep veins.
He's a big dude.
He's insanely big, but I love that because I think we were all just being like, okay, you can tell he's taking it easy on her. He said he's taking it easy on her.
Yeah.
If he hits her once, if that guy lands a square punch on her once, same thing with Idris hitting Jason Statham and The Rock in the face. If he's a superhuman and he hits him right on the chin, they should just be knocked out.
Yeah,
but
broken jaw.
Done. I was like, if he wants to, like, Vanessa Kirby's going to be in real trouble. And then that moment happens, and you're like, okay, they're both just having fun with each other.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I was like, all right, if this is what's going to happen for the rest of the movie, I'm all in.
Yeah.
That was my mom.
Epic. I want to just use Cliff Curtis again.
I know you do. It's your favorite part.
I just don't think that I should, though. I feel like I need to branch out from my Cliff Curtis love. I think probably my fist pump moment in this movie has got to be the...
Denuzio hasn't seen Spy.
What?
I know.
Oh, Denuzio, you just love Spy. It's so good. It's so good. It's like one of my favorites. I think we're doing it on the show pretty soon.
Yeah, well, so the idea is that we'll either do, for the pitch, we have 2 movies lined up.
Oh, is that next week?
It's
possibly?
one or the other, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sweet.
I know.
Sweet.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome.
So I think my thesis statement, or my fist pump moment I'll go with is... you know, when the movie opens, you get the whole, like, the duel. They're both doing their own thing. And I think it's nothing to do with The Rock. It's all just, like, Statham's ludicrous, like, routine.
Right.
And, like, cooking his eggs. And, like, showing up at the club in, like, the douchiest car in the world.
Yeah.
Like, getting out of the car and, like... It's just like he's sitting there and he's drinking his beer at the cafe.
Did you notice that he poured his own beer?
Yeah.
What is? Do you think he owns it?
Yeah, maybe, probably.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to paint the picture of like this totally absurd. But like my favorite part of this whole entire thing is like, so Statham goes in, he like does this whole fight. He's like, I'm what you call a champagne problem.
Yeah.
And like he's holding the bottle of champagne. He like kicks everyone's ass with the champagne, then just drops it. And I was like, that's what I leaned over to you. And I was like, God, these guys are so pleased with
They're
themselves.
so pleased with
I
themselves.
was like, these guys, they were like, hey, all those idiots in the Fast and the Furious franchise, let's get rid of all of them. And let's make our own movie where we're the coolest guys in the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you'll produce it, and I'll produce it.
it.
And we'll both make each other look as awesome as possible.
And we're so funny, and we're so talented, and we're so strong. People will think this movie's amazing.
Pretty accurate, honestly.
It's a good sketch. You should shoot that sketch. I
your?
No, I think it's yours. I'm pretty sure it's. Oh no, maybe it's mine. Yeah, it feels like probably it's mine.
All right.
All right, let's.
So that's a loud sound going on. Guys, really quickly, since this is a total guilty movie pleasure, you gotta stop. We gotta kill it.
Killed it.
We love you guys hanging out with us on Action Movie Anatomy every single week. But if you know, we have friends that do a show that would be absolutely perfect for this movie. It's Guilty Movie Pleasures. Every single Wednesday, excuse me. I thought it was Tuesday. Wednesday at 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern is Guilty Movie Pleasures, where they break down one movie like we do, but it's usually a movie that you don't ever go into highbrow. We did Monster Squad on that. When we went on that show, and we had a great time. You know, Ben Bagley and Jesse McIntosh. When we did it, it was Ben and Josh Mcconaughey.
Yeah.
But it's just an awesome show. If you like this show, you'll love that show, especially if you like these types of movies. So go check that out every single Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Guilty Movie Pleasures. Let's keep moving through the show. That was your fist pump.
I think it's my fist pump was just the Statham side because it just was like you're supposed to be James Bond. But you're not. Yeah. You're Jason Statham. Like, Daniel Craig is James Bond believably. He's, like, handsome. He, like, feels really classy.
Yep.
You, like, don't feel like the character that you're supposed to be playing here.
You feel like knockoff James Bond.
And also, going into this movie, if you had said, like, can you describe Deckard Shaw's character? It's got to be you.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, I'm on airplane. I would have been like, I don't know. He's like just Jason Statham, like driving cars or something like that. I wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, he drives like a sick car and like the door opens up instead of out, and he's like really impeccable fashion.
Yeah, I don't know how I would describe him.
Actually, that's one of my favorite lines. I'll save it. I'll save it for favorite line because that relates to
That's it. Okay. All right.
So anyway, guys, those are our fist pump moments. Share yours in the chat. Unfortunately, we're getting a little static on our chat here, so wasn't able to read some of yours.
And the Wi-Fi is not working either. Everything's falling apart.
This movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes. Good decision, guys.
Wow, right. I knew it. I knew it was so obscenely long. So
let's get into star profiles, and I think. It's fair to say that the stars of this film are Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. Yeah. I want to give just a shout to Idris just because he's the man.
Yeah, he's so good, dude.
But talking about Dwayne Johnson, his three most recent films. So you got Fighting with My Family in 2019, Skyscraper in 2018, Rampage in 2018. So we've talked about this.
Seen all those movies.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
we talked about this before. A lot of his career sort of reinvention since he fired his whole team and booked all these new movies. Was to basically become this like global brand, and that's what he's done. He's really successfully done it in the last 5 years.
Under Armour, Voss, Water,
all of it, yeah.
Everything.
It's huge. He's a producer. He stars in these movies and. It's not that what he does now is. It's not that they're all successful. It's not that they're all quality. It's just that he found his niche to be this like. The character of The Rock is the character of Luke Hobbs.
Yeah.
He just does that. Like this movie felt actually just like The Rock is just like all of it. Like the way he describes himself, this big slab of meat and tequila and the winking and the eye stuff.
Yeah, he's just himself.
He's just modern day Schwarzenegger. He's doing what Arnie did back in the day where he was like, I don't have to be anything other than this. My accent works for every role.
Yes,
my
it does.
muscles work for every role.
Yeah.
And he tried, like Schwarzenegger started to branch out, right? He started to go do like Junior and Twins, and he started to make like True Lies, where he's like I'm a computer salesman,
whereas like The Rock kind of did that in the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
He kind of did the trying to be in movies, trying to be in different roles, trying to like kind of expand his range, I guess. But then now he's figured out, he's like, all right, I just need to do this one thing.
Because and like, don't get me wrong, guys, I recognize the fact that like in Skyscraper he has a prosthetic leg. Like he's doing stuff to push himself. He wants to be a different character, but he ultimately in the biggest movies like this one, he's just The Rock. That's exactly
because
who he
if
is.
he's not just The Rock, then audiences are going to be disappointed.
Right.
Even though people like us, again, who you say are too highbrow going into it, we want something else. I want something else out of The Rock, even though I don't think he's capable of providing it. And I know Jason Statham isn't.
Well, so let's jump to the other side of the coin now. Statham's last three films. You got The Meg in 2018, a movie I still haven't seen, by the way. You did it on the show with Alex.
Yeah, it was fine.
You have The Fate of the Furious in 2017, which I did see.
Which I have not seen.
Yes,
that's the 8th one, right?
Not
Charlize?
Yeah, it's on the poster. It's AATE is replaced with an 8. The Fate of the Furious.
Sick.
It's pretty cool.
That's good marketing.
And lastly, The Mechanic Resurrection in 2016, which we did the regular Mechanic.
Did we watch this one?
No.
I haven't seen it.
No.
Yeah, and we didn't really like the other one.
Yeah, so that's in the last 3 years, those are Statham's movies.
which is crazy because
Feels like he's really famous.
yeah, exactly. It feels like he's massively famous.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because of how big all the movies are usually. But like,
I guess the Fast and
wasn't that
Furious
big.
franchise is a big deal. The Meg had a lot of hype because people thought it was going to be funny.
Yeah.
And this movie is huge.
It's a megalodon.
It's a megalodon.
So I think this is a good moment. Now, you kind of mentioned... we might as well just do both of them, because you mentioned the thing about the modern-day action star and whether it works or not, and Dwayne Johnson just is Arnold now. He's just our Arnold. It doesn't seem to be working in the same way, because if you look at the best action stars of today, or like even the best action stars of like the last 8 to 10 years,
Yeah.
it's like Denzel,
Right.
crazy,
Yep.
Tom Cruise,
Yep.
Liam Neeson,
Yep.
Keanu Reeves,
Yep.
and I guess The Rock and Jason Statham, right? Like, these are the guys that are like in action movies, but those first 4 guys I said have a massive laundry list history of being dramatic actors.
Yeah, like great actors. Yeah, I think if you go back to like, you can talk yourself into Stallone being a real actor, and he is in a couple roles, but for the most part, Stallone's like just the other Schwarzenegger from the time.
Yeah.
Definitely a better actor, but like that's in the 80s and 90s for the most part, that's what he was doing. And there was a lot of guys back then, those action movie guys. I think the question is, A, does this model work? Do we want guys that are pure action stars where like the whole bit is how like muscular they are, how hard they hit, how ridiculous the movies are, how tough they are?
Well, because didn't they try to do that with the Expendables? Wasn't that kind of exactly what the Expendables was just taking all these heroes of yesteryear and then putting them exactly in what they used to do?
Yeah, but it's like a gimmick, right? So,
Right.
So like, or is it better? Are we better served with the old model, which is actually kind of the '90s model, where like Nick Cage is an action star and Bruce
Yeah.
Willis is an action star,
And Harrison Ford is an action star.
Yeah, like these guys who are like real actors really have chops that are the action stars. And so I think the best question to ask here is The Rock, Dwayne, we both are pretty confident he's gonna just continue being huge. Like he's at a saturation point right now, it feels like, but it doesn't feel like it's ending. It definitely feels like there's another 3 to 5 years of rope before like the audience might just be like, I'm kind
so
of tired
sick
of this.
Yeah.
But I think his movies will keep making a ton of money.
And that's the thing, is like, that's what matters now with studios. It's not about making quality films or making quality movies. It's about bringing in money. And like, The Rock will continue to bring in money. So his model, it will work. But Jason Statham, on the other hand, as you said, he's only done 3 movies in the last 3 years. And none of them are that good. And it's not really because of him. Like, The Meg I didn't go see because of Jason Statham. I went to go see because, like you said, it looked funny, and I wanted to see the biggest goddamn shark I've ever seen in my life.
Was it
on
huge?
the movie. It was gigantic.
Like as big as a boat?
Like bigger. But it also, they didn't do it very well. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, you need to have Jaws with that big of a shark.
Yeah, right.
You know, you can't. It needs to take itself somewhat seriously, because sharks are scary as shit.
Yeah.
Like, we saw the trailer for 47 Meters Down yesterday, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Uncaged.
Uncaged. And like, that looks kind of freaky.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look like it's gonna be great, but
No.
it did look like pretty damn scary.
Yeah.
And it's just a normal sized shark.
Totally.
So anyway, I think it will continue to work for The Rock. I think he can continue to do this. Oh, and Gerard Butler's the other one that we didn't mention, because Jerry does terrible movies as well. Like, and they make a lot less money than The Rock's movies.
Yeah, Jerry has a lot less rope. I mean, Jerry's 2 flops away from straight to video.
I know.
He's and he doesn't look good.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
They even make fun of how he looks in Geostorm.
Yeah. Angel Has Fallen, but I'm such a fan.
I am too. I love him so much.
It's just in a few weeks, guys.
It's probably exactly how most of the rest of the world feel about The Rock, is how we feel about Jared Butler.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it, with Jason Statham, as you guys mentioned, I don't think this model will continue to work for him, is this new segment that we're going to be talking about, which is, where do we go from here, Jason Statham?
Yeah, so what's next for him? I mean, in all reality, let's find out how old Jason Statham is.
I have no internet.
Yeah, okay. Hey, J-Lo, can you hear me? J-Lo in the booth.
J-Lo in the booth?
Yes, I can, guys.
Can you tell me how old Jason Statham is? If I had to guess, I would guess he's 46.
Sure, no
46.
He might even be like 48.
I was going to go like 42.
No way.
Yeah.
Think about Snatch. Snatch came out in like 99 maybe, or 2000.
What, he was probably like already in his 30s?
01? He's probably like 30 when that movie came out.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's like probably close to 50, I'm guessing.
That sounds right. I guess.
So Statham...
44. 52! Holy shit!
Yeah.
That's my fist pump moment.
Yeah.
God damn, he's 52?
52. God, looks good.
He's 4'9" and 52.
No, so Statham, you know, he comes out in Snatch. I think Lock, Stock prior to Snatch. I'm pretty sure he's in Lock, Stock.
Yep.
He is. Yeah, he is.
Yep.
And he's in Snatch. And then like the 2000s is a hodgepodge of like Transporter, Death Race 2000, Crank, Revolver. You know, he's in all these movies. He gets bigger and bigger. He makes The Mechanic. You get into like the 2010s. He's done The Bank Job. And he makes like, I think Parker somewhere in the 2010s probably.
Oh yeah, I just forgot that movie
existed, right? Yeah, me too.
Did you see it?
No. But I think Jennifer Lopez is in it, maybe.
Huh?
You know,
Spy,
great film.
best movie he's done.
But like you look at Statham and kind of what he's done. It's not like Statham's ever been a guy where you say he was so good in this movie. He was like he's really talented. The only thing I can think of that I've ever said that about is Spy. Like, and it's not even because he's so great. It's because he's like they harness what he's great at.
Yeah, they use his energy for good,
but
not
he
evil.
He is great in that movie.
He is.
And so like I look at his career and I think like I don't want to watch 60-year-old Statham. Like I don't think so. I don't think I do anyway.
Or if I do want to watch 60-year-old Statham, it has to be doing something drastically different.
Yeah, he feels like what he needs to do is he needs to saddle himself with all the fame and momentum that he seems to have with his brand. He needs to find a legitimate project that puts him in a position to try something outside his comfort zone.
Like he should have been in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
If you put him in a role being legitimate, and it's like like a Tarantino movie or something like that, where he has the opportunity, 12 minutes of screen time,
1917.
to do something cool where he's not just Jason Statham.
Yeah,
I think his career extends, but I don't think he has more than 3, 4, 5 more years of the same gimmick he's got going now. Just because, for the same reasons that I'm saying about The Rock, he's just not the global businessman that The Rock is.
Right, like The Rock. I mean, Jason Statham and The Rock walk into anywhere and everyone recognizes him, I'm sure, but in a different way. Like, The Rock has massive crowds everywhere he goes. Jason Statham is not on that level, so he can't continue to do this thing. That's why this movie didn't end in England and ended in Samoa. You know, like, obviously Samoa has much more culture that we're not familiar with as a general in the United States, but it's also like, The Rock, if they're both executive producers. Yeah. Jason Statham is going to listen to what The Rock has to say for the most part.
Yeah, now on the flip side of this movie is a huge success for Statham because if you think about prior to this, what is Statham's legacy? What's he doing? It's like, well, I don't want to see another Mechanic. I don't want to see another Transporter. I don't think he's that good of a part of Fast and the Furious, so does he have a franchise? And the answer is, well, now he has Hobbs and Shaw. And this movie's going to make a lot of money, and they're going to make a sequel, and they'll probably make a third one, and he'll have this now. For the next few years, this will be his cash cow.
But he has to take this momentum he has and put it into something else, a passion project, an indie art film, a mini series on Netflix or Hulu, whatever it is. True Detective, I don't know, but he's got to do something else.
I think the best question to answer with the guys like these is, and I know that The Rock and Black Adam is supposed to happen, but like if you told me that they were going to cast Jason Statham The Rock in an MCU movie or a Star Wars movie, I'd be like, fail. That's a hard fail, guys. I can't go see The Rock in a movie and not just see The Rock. That's the only thing I can see. You put Statham into a Marvel movie where I have to take those characters and those storylines seriously, I can't do it. It's the wrong actor for it. Like, and that's where it caps out for me, is like you're talking about a different beast. You're talking about blockbuster filmmaking. I'm talking about iconic all-time blockbuster filmmaking, like shit that matters to me.
I want to see him as like an old, decrepit drunk or something like that. You know what I mean?
God damn it, Rich.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what it is. I need to see him doing something different. He's got to do it soon. I do agree he's got probably 2 more of these Hobbs and Shaw movies coming, and he's going to be laughing all the way to the bank. But if he wants to prolong his career, he's got to change it up.
Yeah, so a couple things coming up, guys. Be sure to go check out our Facebook pages. We got a couple different fan groups all about action, as well as the Action Army, which is the Team Action fan group. And there's actually a Facebook page for Action Industries, which is the brand that we have. We have a youtube.com/Action Industries, but go like that on Facebook right now, because the more of those we can start streaming. We actually should start streaming from that Facebook page soon.
Okay.
It's got a good number of people that follow it now.
Yeah.
And Facebook streaming is like a thing. Facebook video like really matters. So I think it's another avenue we haven't really used. But go check that out. Be sure to follow along on social media with us. You can find Team Action Show on Twitter, Ben Bateman Media, and @AndrewGhai on Twitter as well. All right, production development. So in 2015, in November, Vin Diesel announced in an interview with Variety there was going to be some spin-offs coming for the Fast and the Furious franchises. They were in early stages of development. So in October 2017, Universal announced a spin-off film centered around Luke Hobbs and Deckard Shaw. I remember when this happened. I remember thinking like, I didn't think Shaw mattered. Like, I thought he seemed like a pretty irrelevant character in the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a bad guy. You didn't think you kind of figured he'd just be replaced.
Oh, he becomes you can see in the 8th movie he's like an ally. He helps them.
Right.
And that's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
Helen Mirren gets introduced as his mom. She's in the 8th movie too.
Also so cool that she was able to take off those handcuffs.
Yeah.
Really glad they added that in.
Yeah, of course.
I meant that.
Yeah. Now, the big news for us in our world was that when they announced that Deadpool 2 director David Leitch entered to direct the film, because we like David Leitch a lot.
Yeah, and it was originally going to be Shane Black, which I think would have been better. I like David Leitch, but David Leitch probably leaned more into the action, and he definitely used Ryan Reynolds to his best because he knows him. But like, I think Shane Black could have maybe worked his humor better with The Rock and Jason Statham.
Yeah, I like the use of the guy that played David in... isn't he the other guy? He's the guy that who goes and gets shot.
Oh, yeah. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
He was
He's
funny.
a funny actor.
But yeah, so David Leitch entered to talks to direct the film in April of 2018. He was confirmed as the director for the film and added David Schuneman as a production design. Production time was pretty good on this. Filming began in September and lasted through January 2019, September obviously of 2018, mostly taking place in London and Glasgow.
Yeah, so, David Leitch, as we mentioned, the director, he was a stunt double for Brad Pitt 5 times and twice for Jean-Claude Van Damme. Chad Stahelski and David Leitch together co-directed John Wick, which is where they became very famous in the action world and got their start to start blowing up and doing stuff. They've both been pretty successful now. Leitch, I believe, did Atomic Blonde and this and Deadpool 2, right? Those are all his movies?
Yes, I believe so.
And Stahelski did something else significant that I'm forgetting? Or maybe Stahelski did
Stahelski did
Atomic Blonde?
I think so. I can't remember.
Stahelski might have done the sequel to John Wick on his own. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, he did do that.
So
I got some internet again, so I'm trying to look up the box office on this because I'm sure it made a very good amount of money, but doesn't seem to be loading right now.
Last but not least, I'll talk about Chris Morgan and Drew Pearce, the writing on this film. So they had written, Wanted, the Fox drama Gang Related. They had, multiple screenplays in the Fast and the Furious. Drew Pearce is known for creating the cult British TV comedy No Heroics. He wrote Iron Man 3, which is probably where some of the Shane Black stuff came from.
Yeah.
And then he also wrote the story for MI5 for Rogue Nation. And in 2017, Pierce directed Hotel Artemis, which I didn't actually see. Hotel Artemis.
I never saw it either. It's already made $180 million.
Yeah, so this movie
it's doing fine. Doing just fine. It's got a 7.2 on IMDb, a 67% on the tomato meter, and a 90% from the audience. So, I mean, look, people in that theater enjoyed the movie way more than we did. Everyone was laughing more than we were. And
the thing so I had a whole long conversation with somebody about this yesterday. So, like, at this point in our lives, we are so engaged in the movie business. We're so aware of what's going on, and we rate and discuss and review and play these games. But movies are made for the guy in Iowa that sees 4 movies a year. That's what it is, right? Like, theaters want you to go see X number of movies, right? And so the studios are like, all right, how are we going to get people to go see this movie? We have to be one of those 4 movies. If we want our movie to be successful, we have to be one of the 4 movies. They go to the movie every couple months. So what's that movie going to be? That's how they choose the movies that they make. That's how that shit works.
Yeah.
Because people don't go to the movies every weekend like we do or screen stuff during the week. It's like you get a babysitter every 8 weeks and you go see a movie with your wife, or right? Like, that's kind of how it works. And
you see like the biggest movies.
So it's like when you have that guy who is not, man, woman, anything, that is not accustomed to knowing what to expect, what is good, what is bad, why. What are they going to think about this movie? Are they going to enjoy it? And I think the answer is yes. They'll probably enjoy these big charismatic leads. Vanessa Kirby is beautiful and she's tough. Idris Elba is kind of a badass.
Yeah.
The effects are sweet. The cars are awesome. It's just like a big entertaining spectacle. Now for us, we're like, this should have been 30 minutes shorter.
Yep.
You didn't need a lot of the fluff. The Doctor's a useless character.
Yep.
Let's tone down the just like berating each other jokes, because like you're hitting me over the head with it.
And they're not hitting, they're not landing. And also show the virus kill one person. Show the virus kill the Doctor or something. Show the virus do one thing ever so that we actually have a fear. I mean, that was something that you and I talked about. As soon as we walked out, it was like, even 20 years ago when The Rock came out, they knew to show that VX gas scene in the beginning of the movie to just show you, holy shit.
Yeah.
That is what happens if one of those drops. Your skin boils off and melts off and you scream and die an agonizing, painful death. And you're like, I don't want that to go to San Francisco. I don't want that anywhere.
Yeah.
This movie, you're always like, oh, it tears you up from the inside out, and they can target your DNA, and it's programmable, and it's going to eliminate the weak. And you're like, okay.
Intense. Also, did they explain why Vanessa Kirby didn't die?
I believe they said that it takes 40 hours to activate after, or like the capsules that were in there, because they were in capsules still in her blood, which is why they had to like put the big tubes in. I think it was like those capsules dissolved or something after 40 hours or something.
Sweet.
Yeah, really good job covering it up. Should we get into our favorite line? I want to know what yours is. You had a new one. You thought about.
I thought of it. I remember what it was.
Yeah?
There's like shit.
What is it?
Because every 3 jokes landed, so there's a lot of funny lines.
Yeah,
in this
there's
movie.
a lot of good ones.
I think my favorite line is that when they're on Samoa and they're all like getting ready, and The Rock's like, "Want to put another jacket? It's 110 degrees outside." And I had already noticed like Statham was wearing this like really fashionable military jacket with like a silver like zipper on the collar.
Popped.
And I was like, oh man, like jackets are so cool, so hot in LA. I never get to wear jackets.
Yeah, right?
And, like he's like such a douchebag with his fashion that he's wearing his like fashionable jacket.
Like as they're about to go to war.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
That was funny. That made me laugh.
I like the stabbing with the brick.
Yeah, it's really
I think it was
funny.
just because Reynolds' timing is so good, and the best friends thing and wearing the necklace, like,
I need the tattoo.
yes, the tattoo. It was so over the top absurd, but he was wonderful.
He's just great. I mean, his comic timing is great, and
Yeah.
he's hilarious, and yeah, like that guy's just great.
He really is. I want to know, I mean, next time that he's in a movie, we're going to definitely have to do Where Does He Go From Here also, I think, because he can't do the Van Wilder waiting thing again, but then we just saw him do it in Hobbs and Shaw. It was perfect.
Yes, the weird thing is with him, and maybe some of you guys know this, you know, there's a whole subject that I like sort of wanted to address, but we haven't even talked about, which is I don't think Hobbs or Shaw will be in Fast and the Furious 9, which is a pretty big miss.
Yeah, that's weird.
Because I believe in an interview recently, The Rock said, I don't think so because they start shooting so soon. But I do think probably they'll return in 10, I would guess, because at that point you'll have a crossover, right? Like you want to promote both franchises, but like that's kind of weird. And then the other thing though is with Ryan Reynolds, it got me thinking. So is he going to stay on as Deadpool now that the universe has now that it's a brand new universe and the Fox stuff is all gone, right? But like Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead and all those characters, like, is that all going to be canon, or are they going to just take Reynolds and like restart? How's that going to work? Are they going to recast Deadpool?
I don't think so. I think Reynolds is still going to be in it, even if it's not for another 3 years. I still think he's in it. I think he has to be, because
that would be crazy. He's
I know. He's like 40.
Yeah, it's just like that's the one to me that's like, I don't think you can just like recast Reynolds. It's a different movie if you recast Reynolds.
Yeah, it's a whole different beast. It's not like recasting Batman, who needs to be dark and ominous and badass. Like, you have to recast someone with incredible comedic chops.
Like, he is Deadpool. Like,
he is.
There's not like he's not like the best casting choice for Deadpool. Like, somebody else is just going to be ripping him off.
Yeah.
To do that character.
He just is it. He's like, just is. I mean, I was on Heroes talking to Coy about it, and Coy is just, there's no one ever that is better cast. And I honestly think I might agree. Even though I love Jackman as Wolverine.
Gal Gadot. Like, there's
Gal Gadot, but it's like, I think you could maybe have found someone else to do all those things, whereas you can't find someone else to do what Reynolds does as Deadpool.
Yeah, he does feel like he's the most unique casting. So, all right, guys, we're going to get into AMA questions. So every single week on our Instagram, which is at Action Industries on Instagram, we post a story. The answer to that, you basically ask a question through IG story, so follow that through the week.
Yeah.
That question gets answered. We share that question on the show here. So at Creative Fool, Ira Atchinson asks, the bad guys in the series have recently gone from Luke Evans to Jason Statham and now Idris Elba. Each of those have been a step up, in my opinion. What actor would be a step up would you like to see as the next villain in a Fast and the Furious movie, and they even likely to want to be in this franchise? Well, what's really interesting about that question, Ira, is that they're all physically capable villains. Mm-hmm. So you can't go with like a villain that I would like. You can't put like Christoph Waltz or like Tom Wilkinson or like someone like that where they're not really a tough guy,
because there has to be some moment of physical altercation
hitting
between
each other
the two.
with like pipes or something. Like, it's just like what happens in these movies. So if you're gonna go beyond Elba, you have to go with somebody else who's like that person.
Like, who's someone that is actually intimidating to The Rock's size?
Oh,
on
size
camera,
wise,
like to where you could think maybe Tommy Conlon.
Yeah, Hardy, a little short Hardy.
Short Hardy. Yeah, I don't really know who could do it, but I do know who would be awesome and would not do it would be Mahershala Ali.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. I know that he would have absolutely zero interest. 2-time Academy Award winner who's about to be in Blade.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, I think, again, like, it sounds like the level of what Blade is going to be could be even in Oscar contention. Like, it just seems insane to me.
Insane. Yeah. I think, what about Oscar Isaac?
Oscar Isaac? I think you could always work anyone out enough and then play camera tricks enough to where they look big enough to do it. But, I mean, Idris was pretty perfect.
Yeah, he's a big dude, too.
And you were saying that you think he's going to come back as an ally maybe in the future.
That's how these movies always work.
That's how they always, yeah, for sure. But I don't really know. Who would I want? I think is Mahershala. Would he do it? I really don't think so. And even then, I wonder how he would be. Because I just remember him in Alita. And he was like a pretty great bad guy.
Oh, he was sweet. Oh, you know who would be awesome as the villain?
Huh.
McConaughey.
Oh.
Get McConaughey to put the size back on.
Yeah.
Get super jacked.
Yeah.
Which we know he can do.
Of course we do.
And he'd be sweet. He's got the charisma.
Or Jackman. Or Jared.
Oh,
honestly, yeah. Jared would be perfect.
Jared belongs in this franchise.
And he would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll pay me.
It's opening in 1,700 theaters.
That's a lot of theaters. Yeah, I think it's just Jared. I think we've narrowed it down.
As a producer, I'd like 18%. I'll give you 3. I'll take it.
I'd like the last scene to be shot in Scotland. It's not going to happen. No problem.
I'd like to reprise my role.
As a revered dolphin trainer.
I'd like to work with Jamie Foxx. Oh, Jamie Foxx could probably end up actually in one of these movies. Doesn't that feel like that'll happen? It feels like Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx?
Doesn't it feel? I feel like Jamie Foxx will end up in one of these movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that, I guess. I just kind of want Jamie Foxx to be done acting.
Just to stay on the Can You Beat Shazam show. Is that his career?
Is that what he's doing right now?
Yeah.
What was the last movie that he was in that you can think of? Baby Driver?
Sleepless and Baby Driver.
What's Sleepless?
Like he's a cop or something like that. It's an action movie.
1917 looks sick.
It looks so good. We have 30 seconds left,
okay.
so I can't digress too much. I do want to talk all about that, though. All right, guys, there are 3 action movie categories. This movie is totally ridiculous. I'm not even going to.
We don't even need to waste time on it.
But if you guys want to hear us talk more about all the absurd things, like The Rock holding a helicopter with one arm, like all of the things in this movie, we have an entire episode talking about Hobbs and Shaw, the 10 most ridiculous moments in the movie. We're going to be doing this week on Collider's The Action Guys, which is our other show we're going to go film later today. Can't wait to talk about that. Cannot wait to dissect that.
Be fun.
We're going to have a lot of good laughs. And so go check that out. The full video is available tomorrow
on the Action Industries YouTube channel, and you can hear the audio today
on Patreon. Yeah, to get it tomorrow, you have to be a patron, patreon.com/teamaction. We'll have the full video up, but the audio is just available today on the Collider Podcast Network, and then it goes public on our channel on Friday. So go check all that out.
Will McLean says Keanu was supposed to be the voice behind the corporation. Maybe they'll actually do it. That's kind of cool.
Interesting.
Keanu's a bad guy. Which means we've just got one more thing, Ben.
Oh yeah, that's what it's called.
The Pitch. We've got a double header.
Boom.
Maybe.
There's a film coming out called The Kitchen. It is a film starring Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish, and Elizabeth Moss about taking over their husbands' crime territories, or their husbands in prison. It's a DC comic.
God, if only a movie like that had happened before called Widows.
Yeah, right.
But it's good.
Yeah, Widows sucked. But some people really like that movie.
Yeah, some people really did.
Yeah, but this is based on a DC comic, a Vertigo comic. I like all of the actresses. Like, I really like Melissa McCarthy. I have my moments where I like Tiffany Haddish, and I think Elizabeth Moss is really talented.
Yeah.
So I am interested, and I hope this movie's good. I don't know, and I don't feel like I have the most faith in it. But
I know the trailer last night was like definitely half and half for me. I know Ryan, the producer, is going to go see it tonight, so I'm going to talk to him about what he thinks. If for some reason we do go and watch it and we don't love it, we've been talking about Spy so much on the show as of late, and if Melissa McCarthy's going to be trending, why not just
cover Spy?
Do it. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
So be sure to follow along on Twitter, guys, at Team Action Show, to get that information of what film we're going to be covering on the show this week. It'll either be The Kitchen or it will be Spy. We're super excited about it. Quick shout out to the generals in the Action Army. We got a whole lot of generals now.
There's so many.
We got Andrew Hayes, Paul Denuzio, Billy Belford, John Getz, John Patterson, Jake Iacovetta, Kyle Grandinetti, Jonathan Peck, Kelsey Kirkland, Mac Ryan, Nick Gilmore, and brand new general Jeremiah Morris.
Wow.
We salute you. Thank you guys all for supporting so much. And be sure to check out our live streams this week on Action Industries, youtube.com/Action Industries, Wednesday and Thursday. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you same time, same place next week.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.